Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video, and today's video is going to be my top 5 favorites for the Hart Trophy for the 2019-2020 season, and we're on the break right now. We don't know if the season or the playoffs or anything's going to come back. The season could be canceled, but as of right now, I'm going to go over my top 5 favorites, so if you are here, please subscribe, smash that like button, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you comment and you're new, I definitely will reply. I'll reply in general, and I welcome all new hockey fans. So obviously for Hart Trophy, what is the Hart Trophy? The most valuable player to their team in the season, and we've always talked about it. Awards are just for the season, not for playoffs. So I think I made a TikTok, and I'll show the TikTok here in a second. I talked about Patty Kane, so I'll show the video, and I made an explanation on Patty Kane and why I thought he was a guy that should have been watched more in terms of the Hart race. A lot of people weren't talking about him. And there was a 24-point gap from him to Johnny Taves. He was lighting up the points. He was a guy that was a huge reason, obviously, every year. He's a huge reason if the Blackhawks are doing well or not. And this year, the Blackhawks have been very inconsistent. They haven't been a good team. But somehow, they sneaked in a few wins towards the end there before the break, and they're only 6 points out of a playoff spot. So, again, that's still a gap, and we're talking about a dozen games or less. That's still a gap, but 6 points can be made up. And I said, as a hot take, if the Blackhawks were to make the playoffs, Patty Kane should be considered one of the Hart favorites. And maybe not top 2, maybe not top 3, but at least in the conversation. So that was my hot take. Now let's show the TikTok, and then I'll give my reasoning behind it. This is my top 5 favorites for the Hart Trophy. First, a hot take honorable mention, my boy Patty Kane, 84 points in 70 games, a 24-point gap to the next guy on the team, Johnny Taves. The Blackhawks are 6 points out. If somehow the season came back and the Blackhawks get in, get my boy Patty Kane in there. Number 5, Connor McDavid. 97 points in 64 games. Even with Leon Draisaitl, this guy's been absolutely ridiculous. Number 4, David Pastrnak. He was arguably the most valuable player at the start of the year. That's probably the most valuable line in the league. Pastrnak, Bergeron, Marchand. Okay, we have to talk about Artemi Panarin. Number 3, if the Rangers make the playoffs, he's running. Number 2, Leon Draisaitl. Just posted my Leon Draisaitl video on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to Hot Take Hockey on YouTube yet, what are you doing? Number 1, Nate McKinnon. A 43-point gap to the next guy on the team, Cale Makar. He's been without Rantanen on that offense. He's been without Nazem Kadri. Let me know your Hart pick in the comment section. Thank you for all the follows. Thank you for all the likes. I'll see you on the next video. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed, and of course, please do go follow the TikTok if you haven't yet. Hot Take Hockey on TikTok. No cringe content. It's just going to be shorter clips just to get right to the point and a little entertaining. But number 5, I talked about Connor McDavid. So I think for McDavid, Draisaitl's ahead of him. I made my Draisaitl video, and I talked about how Draisaitl has went above McDavid's Hart category this season. So for Draisaitl, it's the whole game. It's his two-way game. It's his defensive aspect. It's the responsibilities he's taking. It's the responsibilities he's taking away from McDavid. Because what Draisaitl's doing 5v5 with his line of Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto, McDavid's been getting easier matchups since that line is formed. And Draisaitl's been getting tougher matchups, even 5-on-5 when that happened. And then throughout the season, he's been on that first penalty kill unit. He's been getting a lot of penalty kill time. So Draisaitl's been getting a lot of that responsibility. So I had Draisaitl at 2. I had McDavid at 5. Number 4 was Pastrnak. I think Pastrnak for the first, I would say, couple months was maybe the favorite, or at least top 2. And Draisaitl wasn't there yet. McDavid was actually arguably top 3, top 4 for the first half. Even though Draisaitl for a lot of the season has been higher in points, McDavid was doing a lot of special things, and then he went down with an injury for that week and a half. Draisaitl really showed that he could carry this team on his own. They pulled out some wins. Yes, shortly after that, they lost their first division spot, but I think it was proven that Draisaitl can be and should be acknowledged as the best player. And I think overall, if I was looking forward, McDavid is the best player on the Edmonton Oilers overall for years to come. But Draisaitl, this season that he's having, he's proven to be more valuable all around in different scenarios. So Pastrnak slowed up a bit, and I think it's become more clear, like it usually is, that top line is more of what's valuable to that team. And I would say the same for, the Edmonton Oilers, the Yamamoto, Nugent Hopkins, and Draisaitl line. When you're talking about the Marchand, Pastrnak, Bergeron line, those are 3-star players on that line, where Draisaitl, on paper, of course, Nugent Hopkins is, for me, a top 6 player. You could argue that on some teams he's a top line winger. if he plays winger. And then, of course, Yamamoto has just stepped on the scene, and it looks like he can be a very legit top 6, or at least top 9 forward on any team, because, again, it's just in a short sample size, but the way he's playing, he has been recognized as that. I think if we're talking about number 3, Artemi Panarin, that obviously comes down to if the Rangers make the playoffs or not. Panarin and Zibanejad has been insane. That duo has been crazy. Zibanejad's 5-goal game. Panarin was heavily involved in that. Panarin's been heavily involved in a lot of things for the Rangers, obviously, this season. He's their star player. He's their number 1 guy. And in a lot of aspects, he's been carrying the Rangers. Yes, with the help of Zibanejad and Tony DeAngelo going off, Shesterkin coming on the scene. So there's been a couple other aspects of why the Rangers have been playing well, but obviously that is centered around Panarin's success. So I had number 3, Panarin, and then I had number 1, McKinnon. I can see why people are going to still get frustrated and say Draisaitl should be number 1, Draisaitl should be number 1. I just still look at the aspect of, like, with the injuries the Avalanche have faced for a lengthy amount of time. For the Edmonton Oilers, McDavid was only down for a week and a half, and it's still McDavid and Draisaitl for the most part. For McKinnon, he's been without Rantanen for a lengthy amount of time in the season, and he's been without Kadri for a lengthy amount of the season. So I think that's the aspect as well. So that's why I have McKinnon just a little bit ahead of Draisaitl. I think the point gap, the fact that he's on a 43-point gap to the next guy, I get people are injured, but it's still a 43-point gap to the next guy, and I still look at that as a big reasoning why he should win Hart, and then just with the people that he's been without. So the Avalanche in a second division spot, and to me, a more difficult Central Division. Thank you for watching. Let me know your opinion on your Hart pick. Again, go follow on TikTok. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Hot Take Hockey, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Peace out.